Hi and welcome to GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. Now and again something comes along and you think, yeah, it looks alright, give it a go, and then you get it and it's like, oh, why is this so good? Why have I not had this before? And that's what sort of happened now. And the product in question is a new radio. Now I've got my current stack of radios here just to show that I'm not a one-person radio. I'm not dedicated to any particular make. My dominant radio is the Futaba. I think it's the best. It's probably the most expensive, but I've always used Futaba radios ever since I started. I've switched from Futaba, I've used JR, then I went back to Futaba, and I've never had issues with it. It's always worked and done exactly what I want. So that's my current sort of main radios for all my RC planes and helis and stuff. Then when Bind and Fly came along and Spectrum came on the market, I bought a little helicopter, but I needed a radio for it, and so I bought the Spectrum DX6, as did a lot of people. Fell in love with it. Then got the DX7, the DX6i, and now I've ended up with the DX7 Gen 2, which in itself is an absolutely cracking radio for not a lot of money. I mean, it is stunning, I have to say. And again, it's got the DSMX. I've got no issues with the protocols. I know people have problems with lockouts and brownouts, and I've never had any issues. If you set it up properly, and if you build your planes and your models and your helis properly, and you've got the receivers mounted correctly, and all, if you do it all properly, you shouldn't have any problems, in my opinion, and I never have. Then come the Tyrannus. Now I got this because I got into mini quads, and everyone said you need a Tyrannus. Now, build quality, it's okay. It looks like to me an old JR casing that they've used, and they've put their own gear in it. I absolutely hate it, the Tyrannus. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't do a stunning amount of things, because it does. If you can think it, it can pretty much do it. And if you're prepared, and if you come from a modelling background like me, if you're prepared to learn brand new systems, then that's fine. But if you think you can look for the word subtrim in this, or exponential, or anything like that, you're not going to find it, because it's like a programming tool, and it is an extremely powerful tool for that. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not slagging it off. It is, for it is a fantastic piece of kit for me, and for a lot of people that come from this kind of radio. I think probably would agree the same. Now I'm actually selling this one. This is, by the time this video has gone out, hopefully this horrible thing will be gone. But that's that. Then comes this. The hell is that? The Turnigy Evolution. Turnigy Evolution. Now, this is not going to replace this radio or this radio. It is going to replace this, but I only use this for mini quads. So let's get one thing straight first of all. This is no good for flying fixed wing, because there are no sub-trims on here. There are no trim switches. Yes, you could do it by doing the sub-trimming on the screen, but in reality, you need these sub-trims. If it had sub-trims, I would, I don't know, it would be a much closer thing. But the only thing I'm not sure about at the moment is things like range and its longevity and stuff like that. So at the moment, I would stick with my Futaba, because I do love my Futaba. And I've got loads of Futaba's receivers. But first of all, one of the key things with this is it costs less than a Futaba S-Bus receiver. And with it, you get an S-Bus receiver, which is currently in here. Now, people say the receiver that comes with it is quite a big one, but I had a D4R crammed in this quad, and I've now got the i6 crammed in it. It's not much bigger than D4R, it's absolutely fine. And it's on the same protocol as the FlySky, so you can buy the little tiny FlySky receivers as well. Now, is it a toy? It looks a bit like a toy. Yeah, and in a way, it's a shame that they did this gimmicky... I like the fact that these light up, but it's telling me to move the switches and the throttle. It almost cheapens it by having these lit up gimbals. Just a nice black gimbal, the same as on here, I would have been perfectly happy with. Yeah, you can turn the lights off, but they're there, so, you know, and they change colours and whatever. It does nothing for me. I don't know if it's meant to appeal to younger people or appeal to people that are watching you fly. I'm not really sure what it is, but it just cheapens it, in my opinion, which is a shame, because this is not a toy. It's not simple, it's user-friendly, and it does everything that this sort of does. You know, if I want to go into, and I didn't read the manual, I never read the manuals, it's a touchscreen, so if you want to go into endpoints, you just click, find endpoints on the screen, touch endpoints, find the channel you want and change the endpoints. You know, it's simple, you don't have to go into programming. If you want to go to subtrims, you just go to subtrim. Receiver binding is straightforward. You don't have to press and hold. You don't need 3 people to bind a receiver. You can just set it to bind, plug the receiver in and it binds. Why does that have to be so difficult on so many systems? So they've got that right. Number of channels, it's got obviously your 4 main ones. You've got a 2-position switch on the front, which I just use as my lost model bleeper. And then you've got 2 3-position switches on the back. And to be honest, on my mini quads, all I have is an arm, and then it goes straight into air mode. I don't have angle modes and all that kind of thing. Anyway, so I just use one of the 3-position switches, and the my lost model buzzer is on that one. There is a little dial here which you can hide away. That would be for something like a gimbal on a quad with a camera. Again, that's on another channel. The switches are all assignable, so it's brilliant. They're not marked, but I think it's A, B, C or something like that. But it's dead straightforward to set up, and it has everything that I want on it. Now, because it's like a game controller, it actually feels nice in the hand, and it weighs less than half of all these other radios. Probably the Spectrum is the lightest one, but certainly less than half of, I mean, the 14SG, that's a chunk and a half. The Tyrannus is quite a heavy radio. It just weighs nothing. And for what it's been designed for, it's perfect, because you can just put your cover on, pop it into a rucksack. I've just been over the park just to test fly this little quad. I just flew it line of sight just to see how the gimbals felt, and they feel absolutely fine. They're not as smooth. I'm not going to tell you they're as good as my 14SG. The Tyrannus gimbals, to be honest, are shit, and the Spectrum ones are these are beautiful. These are remind me of the old JR gimbals. They are gorgeous on the Spectrum. Yeah, so in mine would be the Spectrum, the Futaba, these gimbals, and then the shit ones on the Tyrannus. Yeah, so yeah, not the best, but when you're flying a mini quad, I don't think it's a problem, and you soon get used to the gimbals. You know, you fly someone else's plane and you pick up the transmitter, you soon get used to it. And I'm perfectly happy with it. It's not like a horrible feeling gimbal. It's just not as nice as like the Spectrum there. So, what else? Oh yeah, charge. To charge it, you just plug it in. It's got a micro USB, and because it's a micro USB system, you can just plug it into your FreeRider on your computer. And what is it? Fox Props or something is the other one I've got. So you can use it to practice on the computer, and I have my computer set up with the video out, so I actually have my goggles on, and all I need to do now is just plug this in, and I fly around that, no problem at all. Works brilliantly, it's dead easy to set up, absolutely great. From what I understand, there's a battery in each side of here. I'm not really sure how long the battery's going to last. I've used it quite a lot, and the battery's not gone down at all, but I'm guessing as every time I plug it into the computer to fly the simulator, I'm thinking, I don't know if it's charging or not, that when you just plug it in and you're actually flying it, it probably is, so not an issue. I've got 2 timers. It has got telemetry, and it gives you receiver voltage. Obviously that's no good on the system I've got set up, because it just shows you the 5 volts that I've got powering the receiver. But there are different things you can go in and set in the menus. if you touch the timers, it comes up with all your options for the timers. And to be honest, I don't use OSD. I find it distracting. I just learn my quad, and I use a timer. Very old school. I just set the timer. You know, if I know a quad will last for 4.5 minutes when I'm flying it fairly hard, then I'll set my timer for 4 minutes, and then that's fine. It's worked for me for 25 years flying, so I don't need a voltage or how many milliamps I've drawn, because I think if you're looking at that while you're flying, I think it's just a distraction, but that's just mine. Some people like all that. So I know you're not going to get the full amount of telemetry that you would get on a Tyrannus or the voice recognition and all that, but at the end of the day, this gives me exactly what I need. It's cheap. It seems to be well made. It's not sort of cheap looking. It looks nice, apart from the LEDs I'm not keen on, but it feels good in the hand. Just feels like a good quality games controller. And the actual sticks, I love the sticks because they're my favourite colour. They're the red ones, which I have on my Futaba, and they've got the nice spiky tops that you can basically stick your thumbs in. Is it any good for pinchers? I know this has been questioned a lot. You can pinch with it, but I think this would get in the way of most pinchers. So I would say if you're a pincher, then no. I think it's designed for a thumber. I think there are other things out there that there's a sort of a more basic looking radio that's probably better for pinchers. But for me as a thumber, it's absolutely fine. I have tried pinching, but there's just not enough room really to get the sticks up to the top comfortably. So I would say it's a thumbers only one. Any negative points? Yes, the one negative point, there's only 5 model memories. If that's an issue for you, then buy 2. They're only 50 quid, and you get an extra receiver anyway, so what the hell. Yeah, that might be a firmware update where they increase the number of models at a later date. I don't know. It's just 5 at the moment. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to have more than 5 mini quads. Most people won't. I'm not going to use it for my planes or anything else, so it's not an issue. So there you go. That's my review on the absolutely fantastic, I love it, Turnigy Evolution. It's replaced my Tyrannus, and I'm so pleased about it. Now, this is GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'll see you soon. Bye.